In this video, I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process I am taking an online running coach through to double her business from 1.5k a month to 3k a month in the next 6 weeks, while only working a maximum of 16 hours a week, including her content creation, her leads, her offers, everything, her delivery, sales, marketing, everything is included. We're going to double her business in 16 hours a week and maybe even less. So before we get into the video, it doesn't matter if you are at €1,000 a month or €3,000 a month or €5,000 a month or maybe even more. If you want to double your business or grow your business, everything in this video is going to be relevant. We're going to look at the delivery. We're going to look at the offers we need to make. We're going to look at how to actually structure those into a plan. And we're going to look at how you can actually do all of these things, because a lot of people teach these things, but they don't teach you how to do them while also taking your time and your life and your headspace back. And I was one of those coaches. I spent years in the online coaching space. I'm in my 7th year of working fully online, and for the first few years, I was a coach who was hustling all the time. I was working all the time. I was in the DMs, very active, trying to sell people, trying to hustle clients into my business. When I did get clients in the business, I was working one-to-one with them very closely all the time. I only had one service really that I offered, which was one-to-one coaching. I kept hitting a ceiling with price. I kept hitting a ceiling with my own personal energy and effort and delivery, and honestly, my enjoyment. I got up to 10k a month and 53 clients. I absolutely hated it. My life was actually a lot better at 6k a month, but it wasn't giving me the opportunities that I want to have to invest and build my future and things like that as well. So this video is going to clear up how you can actually get past the time and energy and enjoyment, I would say, obstacles that are going to come up if you're working with a traditional coaching model. So a little bit of context to this video. The client in question came to me last week and said, I want to make more money, but I don't want it to take over my life. And she has seen people, I'm sure, go through that kind of journey where they get their first few clients and life is great, and then they take on a ton of clients and they're suddenly overrun. So it was important for her not to lose herself and her downtime and her own training and all these other things that were important to her in the process of making more money. So that's exactly what we're going to do. She joined the Influential Identity about 6 weeks ago. She actually joined at effectively 0 monthly recurring revenue. She had some clients. Her pricing was way off. She didn't have a proper consistent revenue coming in. There was a few small payments here and there, but she was effectively at 0 in terms of monthly recurring revenue. In the first 6 weeks inside the Influential Identity, she added, I think it's 11 clients at the time of recording of this video, a bunch of leads, and she's gained like 400 or 500 followers as well from a couple of simple strategies. So she's not completely, she's had a little bit of experience over these 6 weeks, but before that she was at 0. She is on a good kind of run of momentum, so I think that we can definitely push that momentum and double her business. The next goal, of course, is to earn more money without actually having her life just be taken over. So how are we going to do this? This is the big thing. How do we actually do that? How can we double her business without doubling her workload? And this is a very good question. So really what we're doing here is we're restructuring her offers, her time, her availability, and we're structuring that into 2 tiers. And we're going to look now at the first tier, which you can see here on screen, is tier 1. It's optimized for profitability. And essentially this is her one-to-one coaching. So with this tier, she only has a certain amount of energy and effort that she's willing to give to one-to-one clients because they demand more of her time, obviously with check-ins and things like that. So we've looked at things from a kind of bird's eye view and gone, okay, how many hours do you actually want to spend on one-to-one calls? How much time do these people need on one-to-one calls to get the result that she delivers? And how much time does it take to kind of manage them outside of the one-to-one call? So as you can see, we've got one-to-one coaching. She's willing to open up 6 spaces, and we worked back to get this number, and you can do this yourself. But essentially, she's happy with 6 spaces, which is 6 hours of call time per month because they check in on a monthly call once per month. It's generally about a 40-minute call, but then off the back of that, there's often 15 or 20 minutes of programming adjustments or changes to be made. So we've just given the call slot 60 minutes to account for changes in programming alongside the call. We've then gone and looked at like what sort of time is she spending communicating with these clients on a weekly basis. In her case, she communicates via WhatsApp, and it's generally a couple of voice notes per client per week. So we kind of assumed, okay, it's probably 5 minutes per client per week, which is about 30 minutes of WhatsApp time per week, which is 4 hours per month. Now, she also has a lower tier, so you might think, well, if she's only giving her clients one call per month, and she's only giving them 5 minutes of voice notes per week, and she's charging them €225, how does that work? Because that doesn't sound like a whole lot of support. But we also have a lower tier, which these clients will have access to as well. So these clients have access to what we see on screen here, and the lower tier, which we'll dive into. So essentially, we've got 6 clients. She's charging €225 a month for these 6 clients. It's costing her a total of about 10 hours a month, including the calls, the programming updates, and the WhatsApp over and backs. And that works out to 2.5 hours a week. In some weeks, you know, she'll probably take all of the calls in the first week of the month. So in the first week of the month, she'll have maybe a bigger chunk of time dedicated to one-to-ones, and then throughout it's a little bit more maintenance work. So it's not necessarily 2.5 hours every week. It works out as that on average, but it's 10 hours approximately a month, and that might vary in terms of how that is spread. But that 10 hours a month earns her €1,350 a month, right? So €1,350 a month, which is pretty good. It's €135 an hour, right? So that's amazing. She's got this top tier. Now, she could operate with just this top tier, and this is what most coaches do. They have a good top tier, they charge well, they deliver well, they give their clients great results. But if she was, for example, to 10x her clients, she would be spending a lot more energy and effort. And it's not even that she wouldn't have the time, because again, this is very kind of, you know, it's a very leveraged model in terms of time. So even if she 10x her clients, she would do 100 hours a month, which would work out to 25 hours a week. And that would give her obviously 13.5K a month. But that's 25 hours every week on delivery, which is really, really tough to do. So there isn't really a lot of scale there. Plus, she loves content creation. She loves doing her own training. She doesn't want to spend just 25 hours a week directly with clients. And there's all the other back-end business processes. So essentially, this is what she's happy with. But she wants to hit 3K a month and above. So we have a second tier. And this tier is for retention and for scale. So somebody coming in and working with her in her top tier program might not actually be able to stay for a long period of time. They might not actually be able to afford to pay €225 for a year, for example, or for 10 months, for example. And if that's the only option that we have, when they finish a 90-day block or a 3-month block or whatever it is, there's a high likelihood that the churn and the drop-off of clients is going to be quite high, meaning she constantly has to search for and hustle for new clients. The second tier is here, firstly, for retention. So when somebody finishes, if they don't want to spend quite as much money, they don't need the one-to-one time, but they still want the support, they still want the programming, they still want to be able to ask her questions and get her feedback, and they still want to work towards their goals, there is a tier of access which is built for them. It's also built for scale. So if we just said, well, look, after 90 days, you pay 125 instead of 225, that would still lead to the same problem where as we grow and we scale, now she's getting paid less, but if she just kept them on the same tier but charged them less, she would run into issues with energy and her time and her own kind of resources that she has to give. So again, she's going to run into this problem of not being able to scale. And even more importantly, it's not necessarily about being able to scale, it's about building a business that you love or building a business that you hate. And if you get trapped in a business like I was with 53 clients, where you basically are on check-ins all the time, you're answering WhatsApps all the time, you're chasing payment links all the time, you're making programming updates all the time, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It killed my passion for online coaching. So That's equally important, because even if you could scale with one-to-one, if you hated it and you had to bring in coaches and hire other people, and now you have all this complexity and it's not profitable, and then someone leaves and the whole show falls apart, it's just really not a good model for somebody who values free time, freedom, peace of mind, enjoyment, fulfillment, and profitability and making money, right? So this second tier, tier two, we've discussed what it's optimized for, but here's how it's set up. So we essentially have a running club, right? It's like a group program. I have a mastermind program. By the way, if any of this stuff is like interesting or relevant, or you want to solve some of these problems, reach out to me. I have a mastermind program. I have one-to-one coaching. I have elite one-to-one coaching. I essentially have program options for people at every different level. So it doesn't really matter where you're at. I have clients who are just at the beginning of their journey. I have clients who are already at 6 figures and looking to double their business. It really just matters that you want what I can essentially give you. So feel free to reach out and ask any questions on that, or if you do want my help, let me know. With the running club, this group tier, if we're charging $125 per month and the goal is $3,100 per month, then we want to essentially work out, okay, how do we make this difference in a way? How do we make the $1,750 difference where we don't incur a ton of extra, we don't incur 14 hours of extra work for 14 new members, right? Because with the members in tier one, we're getting at least an hour of work per month per client. Whereas if we did that with 14 new members, we're getting at least an hour of work per month per client, and probably more. Now, we can set this up really easily, because in coaching, what do you need? You need to give people their programs, give them their next steps, give them their game plan, whatever. Then you need to give them support and accountability. You probably need to give them resources and things that they can use and learn from. So we do this through a weekly Q&A group call, which is 60 minutes. It's 4 hours per month because there's one per week, so 4 per month. And all of the running club members do not have one-to-one access. They come along, they show up to this call, and that's where they get their questions answered. That's where they can have discussion. That's where they can share what's working well, what they're struggling with. There's also a WhatsApp group so that the people in the group can communicate and get support there, but they're not always texting my client and taking her time, because they're not paying for her one-to-one time, they're paying for her support in the group setting. Now, think about this, because this group call, yes, if you go to 30 clients, maybe the group call becomes 90 minutes a week, or maybe you have to add an extra call if you really start to grow, but you're not doubling the amount of work, right? Like 5 clients, 10 clients, 15 clients, 20 clients in a group call, it doesn't really change the delivery for the coach. Right, so she can deliver all of this in a group call, and then throughout the week, we reckon she spends about 30 minutes in the WhatsApp group, 5 minutes a day throughout the week, Sunday through Friday, and that's about 12 hours per month. So for this specific $1,750, which is, and we've worked out $1,750 because we wanted to go over 3K, and if we had said 13 members, it would have been slightly under 3K. So we've gone 14 members at 125, which is just a little bit over 3K, and it gives us a buffer of 100 euros as well. So for this $750 per month, we're talking about 16 hours a month or 4 hours a week, right? So if we actually now add up what we have in tier 1 and tier 2 in terms of money and time, tier 1, we're earning $1,350 per month. Tier 2, we're earning $1,750 per month. So that is $3,100 total. And we are spending about 2.5 hours a week on tier 1, and we're spending about 4 hours a week on tier 2. Right? And at the beginning of this video, I said 16 hours a week, right? So this is our client delivery in, say, 6.5 hours, or say 4 hours plus 2.5. 4 hours for the group per week, 2.5 hours for the one-to-one per week. So 6.5 hours total per week, we are able to service all of our clients. So if you can earn 3K and service all of your clients in 6.5 hours a week, that leaves a lot of time. Now, she wants a lot of free time, but still, we don't want to only service our clients. The target, the total income, 3,100, the total time on clients, 6.5 hours, means that we have a ton of free time, and we're going to dedicate that, of course, to growing the business as well, because we don't want to just deliver for our clients and forget about the business, because then all of our lead flow dries up, our sales process doesn't work, we don't have people to put into the sales process. So obviously there needs to be more than just client delivery. but a minimum of 10 hours a week, right? If she hit a minimum of 10 hours a week, that would be 16 and a half hours each week. She could attend my masterminds, she could attend her one-to-one calls, she could manage her leads, she could create her offers, she could build out her email sequences, which she's doing right now. She's got an email list built. Like, she can spend 10 hours a week on actually growing the business. And in 16 hours a week, she's moved the business forward, she's serviced all her clients, she's made more than 3K in a month. And to be honest, she'd probably choose to work more because everyone in my mastermind actually loves to work because it's exciting. We're building systems, we're building scalability, we're building profitable businesses. It's not just hustle. We're actually working on the business versus just hustling in the business. So there's an energy and an excitement that you can probably feel from me when we're actually working on the masterminds, on the one-to-one calls. So most of my clients actually work way more than they need to because they love it and they're seeing the results as a result. But we don't necessarily have to do any more than about 16 hours a week, and she can grow the business and spend the rest of her time doing whatever she wants if she chooses. So that's the how. It's half the how. It's the structure. But then we got to get clear on, okay, well, how do we actually get the people in? Okay, and so for her, this is new pricing. We've just bumped the pricing up. So the previous pricing was a little bit cheaper on both tiers. We actually implemented both tiers before, so she already had 2 tiers of access. We bumped the price a little bit on the both because in the last month, she's taken on like 11 clients, or maybe the last 6 weeks, she's taken on 11 clients. So obviously there's no problem with the pricing. People are happy with the pricing. Her conversion is really, really high. So we bumped the pricing up as well to just reflect the value of her service and also to make sure that she's getting, she's getting paid for her time if she's giving her time away. But of course, with new pricing, there's always a little bit of anxiety for anyone. Anytime somebody bumps their price up, the first thing we have to do is actually prove that price. So really simply, in the first week, now that we've kind of built out the plan, she's got to launch the Q&A for the group tier because the previous group tier had a WhatsApp group and WhatsApp support, but the Q&A wasn't there because there was only a small number of people in the group. But if she's now planning to have 14 people in the group, she's going to need a weekly touch point in the form of a call. So the first thing she's got to do is launch that, tell her existing community about it, launch it, make sure it goes well, have a cadence and a time and a schedule that she can stick to. Secondly, we want her to sign a client at 225 to prove the concept and get comfortable with the new price. And then we want to sign a client at 125 on the lower tier so she can again prove the price and get comfortable with that pricing. Once we've proved the price, then we simply reverse engineer from, okay, how many clients we need. So her current client number minus the total client number. Now there will be a slight difference in exactly how the numbers work out because some of her older clients are on slightly lower pricing. So if we were just starting from zero and we needed to get 3,100 euros a month, we could just sell 20 clients at the prices that we said. What will probably happen is she'll get to 20 clients and she'll still be a little bit shy of the 3K with 20 clients. She might need like 22 or 23 because the current client base, some of them are on a lower priced service. But over time, as people come in and people go out, she'll only need 20, which is 6 one-to-ones and 14 group members. For the time being, she maybe needs like 7 one-to-ones and 16 group members just to kind of balance out the fact that some people are paying less. But over time, as old clients go out and new clients come in on the new pricing, it will only take her 20 clients to actually be at that 3K and above. So we basically need to, do the maths. And in her case, we probably need about 22, 23 total clients just because of the people on the older pricing. And that means she needs about 11 clients from where she's currently at. So she needs 11 more clients. And now we've got a clear client target. At the beginning of this video, I said we're going to double her revenue in 6 weeks. So we've got a clear client target. We've got the 6-week period. And now we just have to be like, okay, what do I need to do to take in 11 clients over the next 6 weeks? And it's really simple. It's simple. It's simple. It's not easy because we have to make sure we get the offers right. We have to be very clear on the retention and why people should stay. And we need to have a really good culture and community and all these things for people to stay in. But it's quite simple. We just need to get more clients in, and we need to get them in over the next 6 weeks. And the way we look at it at the moment, she's got mostly one-to-one clients. We will probably go over the cap of 6 initially, just to kind of balance out the fact that some of them are on a lower tier. But essentially, we need 2 more one-to-one clients at $225, which is $450 a month. And we need 9 more clients at $125, which will be $1,125. And that's going to add $1,575, and it's going to break the 3K mark for her, right? So essentially, that's what we need. Or a different combination. Maybe she chooses to open some more one-to-one spaces with all the free time that she has, so we could get there in a slightly different way. But essentially, we've got really clear goals and targets. Now, this is what the next 6 weeks actually looks like. This video has been recorded end of April, Friday 25th, so we've just run a big offer. She's had a load of people join the program in the last month, like I've mentioned. So we're going to ease off on the sales activity a little bit. And we're going to focus on content. We're going to focus on audience trust. We're going to focus on lead generation. We're going to be running lead offers. We're going to be running micro offers. We're going to be testing lead and micro offers to see what resonates most with her particular audience. So when we design our core offers and our main offers, we're designing them based on something that has worked on a smaller scale. And we're speaking to the stuff that resonates with her audience. So we'll be kind of in a testing phase and a lead generation and an engagement phase for the end of April. During May, at some point in the middle of May, we'll do a flash opening to her main program. These can work really, really well, which is 72 hours where the doors just open and we give people scarcity and urgency to come in and get involved. And we'll probably run a couple of micro offers as well throughout May based on what we see from the data in the testing offers in the end of April. The aim is to add 5 to 7 clients using these micro offers, right, throughout the month of May, like the next 4 or 5 weeks. And at the beginning of June or end of May, we're going to have a main offer for a specific marathon that's happening about 12 weeks out from the beginning of June. So we've got a specific marathon. It's quite a big one. It's one that there'll be a lot of interest for her audience. So we're kind of backdating from that to have a big launch around that point in time. And again, we're looking to add 5 to 7 runners for a specific marathon training group, which is going to be aimed at filling the lower tier program. So we'll have different offers that are kind of more geared towards the one-to-one program and then also more geared towards the lower tier. But essentially, we've got a really easy, clear game plan. The reason we're aiming for 5 to 7, which is 10 to 14 clients over the next 6 weeks, is because if we want 11 clients, we have to assume there may be a drop-off or 2, although most of her clients are on recurring plans for specific periods of time, so a 90-day period. So I wouldn't expect many drop-offs in the next 6 weeks, but we may have 1 or 2 because drop-offs just sometimes happen. So this should cover her to basically have a clear schedule of time, to be able to deliver a high-quality service, to be able to do her own training, to be able to enjoy the process, and to have just a clear game plan for the next few weeks so that she can add more people into the program and she can get really, really clear on what that is. And this is how coaches grow without burning out. You need clear, calculated decisions. You need a leverage model. You don't need more hustle. That's it. Catch up with you soon.